The MCU has been around since 2008, and boy oh boy, that is a long time. Wait, is it 2008 or 2000? Well, it doesn't matter. But out of all the 32 projects, not including the great but overlooked shows, like Luke Cage, Daredevil. No, not you, not you, not you. But anyways, in the span of 14 years, it's always stayed consistent. There's a bit of a wobble at the beginning, but they overcame that and learnt from the mistakes. Something I hope DC will do, but I doubt it, honestly. Yeah, that franchise is dead in the water. By the way, if you want me to review that next, just let me know in the comments, please, because I don't have anything better to do. Definitely should be revising right now. Yeah, definitely. But anyways, they've overcome that, and they've made probably the best, most famous franchises ever. In terms of revenue, I mean, obviously, these movies still have flaws, but they're consistent, which is, I guess, sometimes a flaw, but also sometimes a kind of bargain. 'Cause you know what you're going to get into when you buy a Marvel ticket, you know? That's not to say that the first 6, or Phase 1, as the locals call it, was really great. I'm not saying they're all bad. It was definitely the most rocky phase. There's certainly some really good movies. I think Captain America is pretty good. Avengers and actually, I think that's just it. I don't think. I don't know. Yeah, Iron Man. Yeah, I don't know why I'm rambling. Sorry. Let's just get on with it. Yeah. Let me just jump into Phase 1. This is hopefully going to be a series. I'm going to follow this up with Phase 2. I'll just tell you what I think of them. By the way, I'm not doing the Netflix shows because I just value my sleep, and I don't know how I'd really structure that, because what do I do? Do I do Daredevil 1, Season 2, Season 3, Season... No, it's not Season 4. I don't know. I'm rambling, so let's just get on with it before I forget what video we're on. Okay, that's review Star Wars. I mean Marvel. Yeah, Marvel. I'm dyslexic. Iron Man 1 is pretty okay. It's cool watching it, knowing all this stuff's gonna happen. He meets Spider-Boy and fights Thanos in space. That's pretty cool. The first act is pretty, solid. It's just like a basic story of this guy who has it all, gets stripped of everything, and has to, fight his way out of a cave. And again, I'll bring this up when I speak about Iron Man 3. That's his superpower, not the suit. It's his ingenuity. I said that right. Okay. But yeah. So, first act is really good. Second act's okay, and then the third act just kind of lets it down because it's just a massive weird CGI fight with Jeff Bridges and fucking Tony Stark. I don't get it because he's just attacking him. What does he want? Does he want the company? Later on in the fight, he picks up a car full of just some random family. This isn't going to get you the company. This is going to get you in jail, my guy. Terrence Howard is in this movie, and he played Rhodey. But he says this line, I think during the end of the movie, saying, he looks at the War Machine suit, and he goes, "Not today." No, he says next time. It's funny because he got fired or something, or he left or something, shortly after that the film was released. So that's pretty funny. I don't know. The CGI looks really good for 2008. The suit in particular looks kind of photorealistic, which is a hard stunt to pull off. I don't know the logistics because I'm no computer whiz, but I'm pretty sure they actually built the suit, and that's why it looks photorealistic. I have no idea. Look up a video about it. I cannot describe it. I'm too small-brained. But for the first MCU movie, this is pretty decent, and I don't think I can really complain about anything here. So yeah, I'm gonna give this, I think, about 7 out of 10. I think that's fair. But yeah, next movie. Right, that wasn't so bad. What's next? Right, let's start with the characters. Okay, so first, Hulk is played by Edward Norton, and now here's an opinion that's going to get me crucified. I don't think Edward Norton's a good actor. Honestly, he's good in Fight Club, but I mean, anything else I cannot remember him in. In this film, he doesn't feel like Bruce Banner, he just feels like some regular guy who can turn into some ultra rage killing machine if he gets too angry. You might say, oh, that's what Hulk is, isn't he? On a very surface level, yes, but he's more than that. And that's why I like Mark Ruffalo, because he brings like a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde to the role, if you know what I mean. When he's Bruce Banner, he's like really like timid and shy. In the first Avengers movie, he literally looks like he's gonna bump into something and explode. And like those mannerisms and that body language that he gives off, just yeah, it makes him believable. In the first Avengers, where Black Widow goes to confront Bruce Banner to get him to join the Avengers, he's surrounded by like I think 50 SWAT people. He's got probably the world's best like martial artist in the room, ready to take him down like that. And the fact is, Mark Ruffalo still makes it intimidating and scary. When he I remember this when I was little. In the cinema, I was watching it, right, or the movie theater, if you're American. I remember when he shouted it, I think he shouted, "Stop lying to me." I'm not being funny. I fucking jumped. Like it's good acting, honestly, because he's on the surface he's just one man, and he's surrounded by about 50 SWAT members, but he's still intimidating, and that's good. If Edward Norton was in the first Avengers film, and he had the exact same scene, I guarantee you I would have just been like, oh. So I will state this till the end of time. Mark Ruffalo is genuinely, I think, the best actor to play Hulk ever. And anybody who disagrees with me is, I'm not going to say wrong, but more just false! I used to be one of those people who thought you can't really make a good Hulk movie. I disagree. I think you can, but I think he is better suited as like a side character. Tim Roth's in this movie and he shoots a fucking dog. I genuinely cannot even remember him in this movie, which is a shame because Tim Roth is probably one of my favourite actors. It sucks because they use really, really good like established actors and they just waste them on like some like unknown role. Like Doctor Strange, they use Mads Mikkelsen as Caecilius when he could have been like a really good Doctor Doom. Also in Ant-Man and the Wasp, Lawrence Fishburne plays some like random science guy. I think that's a waste, honestly. There's definitely a role more suited for him, but like, I mean, I don't know. It feels kind of wasteful, honestly. Now I'm going to do something unheard of. I'm going to compliment the DC films. Okay, so they're keeping their villains around so they can like build up to this like Justice League versus Injustice League, if you will. And that's cool. I like that. I think Marvel should do that, and I think they are starting to do that now. But I don't know. They've killed off a lot of like notable villains, like Ultron. Ultron's like a pretty big thing in the comics. I know he was an entire Avengers movie was dedicated, but he was kind of wasted, honestly, in my opinion. Genuinely, just kind of a overall bad villain, in my opinion. Whatever, doesn't matter. And I hate to say this, I know it's 2010, but I'm going to say Hulk and Abomination's designs look so fucking ugly. And it's even worse when the next like human actors, like this scene right now with Hulk and Betty in like a cave. To be fair though, Abomination's design has been updated in the new Shang-Chi movie. And I genuinely like it. I think it's pretty good. Can't really say anything much. Liv Taylor is in this movie, and she plays Betty Ross. And one thing I've noticed, she like whispers all of her lines like, Bruce! But there's one scene where they just get out of the taxi that was driving really recklessly, and she gets out and screams. It's like really weird because she's been whispering the entire movie. I'll play a clip.
Are you out of your mind? What is
What's the
wrong
matter,
with you?
baby? You don't like a good ride?
And honestly, she doesn't really matter that much. Like most Marvel love interests, they usually come back for like a second movie. she's not even been mentioned since 2010, except from in What If. But I don't think that's really counted because that's not really canon. Well, it is canon, but you know what I mean. Thank Stan Lee that this came after Iron Man, because we would not have a Marvel Cinematic Universe as we know it today if this was the first MCU movie. It would not have worked. Also, another thing to mention, the movie's really desaturated, and it looks like a Zack Snyder movie. This is something that's kind of bothered me for a while. Maybe I'm stupid, maybe I just didn't catch on, maybe this was mentioned. But the Hulk is like wanted, right? He's wanted because I'm pretty sure he killed somebody at the beginning of The Incredible Hulk. So, he's wanted. And then the Avengers rolls around. The events of Avengers happen, right? He saves the planet from Loki. But then he's not wanted anymore. Now, this is my theory, right? If you kill somebody in the Marvel Universe, but you also save the world, does that automatically mean that your, like, criminal record is wiped clean? Maybe it was mentioned, I don't know. But it just seems a bit weird that it never got mentioned again, you know? Like, in theory, right? This is just me spitballing. Could Ted Bundy fight in like the end in Endgame? Would that clear him from all of his crimes? That's my question. I need to go to sleep. I will sing this movie's praises though. This is probably the best Hulk film, but I mean, there's not much competition. But yeah, this is probably one of the worst MCU movies. I would like to see them try and do like another Hulk movie. I reckon it could work, but I don't know. And I think he does deserve like another chance at getting like a good movie. But I think She-Hulk's gonna be taken over for being the main Hulk of this of the MCU now. So yeah, that was pretty dreadful. The final battle also is just I can't. What is happening here? I can't tell what's going on. Right. Okay. So Hulk. I'm gonna give that a 4 out of 10. That was genuinely probably one of the worst MCU movies yet. Don't worry, the soon is yet to come. Oh fuck! The soon is. Wait, what the fuck's? The best is soon to come. That's it. Jesus Christ! Oh my god. I lied. Iron Man 2 is fucking boring. I always think this movie isn't that bad. I go to judge it, and then I don't remember it. I just straight up don't remember this. This is a very forgettable MCU movie, which is the worst thing you can be in this series, honestly. I want to clear one thing up first. The guy who's playing Whiplash is doing such a bad Russian accent that it rivals the Rhino from The Amazing Spider-Man 2. And you all know how I feel about that movie. That movie is the reason I started doing like these review movies. I wanted to do that one. It's that bad that I sometimes forget I'm talking about it in a video, and I just do not like The Amazing Spider-Man 2. I think it's a bad film altogether, honestly. But again, if you like it, fine. I don't really mind or care. It's not the end of the world. I don't care. Like what you want. Who gives a shit? Black Widow's introduced in this movie, and I'm going to be honest, I don't really like the early Black Widow. She's more developed, but in Phase 1 she's just a spy woman. I can't really mention a trait that she has in Phase 1 that is unique. That's not to say in like Endgame and Black Widow she's like not developed well. She's pretty well developed. She's probably one of the best written characters in those films. But early on, they really, 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 really did not know what to do with it. It feels. So at the beginning of this film, there's a court sitting, right? And they're all like, "Oh, we're scared Iron Man's gonna become a weapon," and like, they're like, "Target USA," and then he convinces them, "No, don't worry, nobody's got the skills or the resources to do what I do." Okay, I'm like, oh, okay, fair enough then. Then Whiplash attacks in a really weird scene where he goes out on the track, but it was a last minute decision for Tony Stark to go out on the track. Whatever. And then he gets called back to court, and they're all like, "Oh, we're really mad at you because you lied. You said nobody else could make those machines." But the Whiplash suit is like nothing compared to the Iron Man suit. Do these look similar to you in any way? I mean, they've got the arc reactor. Alright, let's talk about things I like, because I'm not too bitter and distasteful. The scene where Tony is trying to like suit up on like the Formula 1 track is kind of tense, but also kind of like cool, because when he suits, it's pretty badass when he suits up, like I won't lie. Like they really did not drop the ball CGI wise, I don't think. Although I do think Iron Man 1's CGI is better. I do think Iron Man 2's CGI is not that bad. Going back to Whiplash's accent, every time he says bird, it's really funny.
Hey.
Yes.
I want my bird. Want my bird. Want my bird.
Man, please not my board.
It just it's like this bird. Like, but I'll play it. Like, I want my bird, like that. I like how I just think Justin Hammer's funny. Me and my friends were just saying how he was like a regular guy trying to be nice to Tony, and he just gets made fun of, and everyone like just calls him a dickhead, and then nobody takes him seriously. And you know, my guy deserves better. Honestly, he better show up in Armor Wars. Even though I do not care in the slightest about that show, honestly. But yeah, he better show up in like, you know, a future project, because they did it with Abomination. I think they should give Justin Hammer another chance. That man could be like an evil Tony Stark. Well, not evil, but more like a shitty Tony Stark, I should say. But yeah, I mean, apart from that, nothing else to really report. It's fine. Like I think it's bad, but I don't think it's like horribly bad. And I just think, honestly, that's the worst thing a superhero film could be. I'd rather have a completely stupid and like easy to laugh at film than rather have like a boring film, because at least you can make fun of like a easy to laugh at film, but with boring films it's just depressing. Honestly, that's the best adjective I can use to describe it, honestly. But yeah, Iron Man 2 is a 5 out of 10, 6 out of 10. No, 6 out of 10. 5.5 out of 10. There, I'll be generous. Right, anyways, next movie. I was gonna do a really funny bit where I just clap and then the text appears on the whiteboard, but it wouldn't work. So I'm just gonna very boringly show you the next movie like this. Florence Dutch angles. No, I'm kidding. I was gonna show you footage from the movie, but I've decided it's just too boring. So I'm just gonna put a clip in of me eating a blueberry muffin. So yeah, I'm just gonna play this whilst I'm talking about the film. So yeah, enjoy me eating a blueberry muffin. Thanks. I really hope nobody has a food fetish out there, by the way. One thing to mention, Loki's really weird right here, because he's like, before he's like fully developed and fully like, how was it, normalized, because he's just really creepy and weird in this film, which I guess is the point of Loki, but it's like not really charming, because I mean, you know, because like in the later movies he's kind of like sly and charming and amazing. He seems like a creepy, greasy little weirdo. Let's just say I wouldn't trust him around my kids. He's a lot aggressive and not really more like charismatic. But I kind of like how Loki's kind of presented as a threat in this movie, because in the later movies he's kind of like the butt of the joke and he kind of gets old real quick. Because, you know, Loki's literally a god. I think it should be demonstrated how powerful he is, and I'm glad the Loki TV show did kind of demonstrate that. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of Loki in this movie. So yeah. This movie is just muy aburrido, which means very boring in Spanish. Don't fact check that, I don't think it's right. That's, like I said, literally in the last review, that's a pretty big issue. Like, if you're gonna make something not make sense, it better be entertaining. But if you make something boring, it's just not, nobody's gonna remember it, nobody's gonna want to rewatch it, because I can remember about 3 scenes in this film, which is the weird exposition scene with Thor and his friends, the destroyer fight, and Loki just kind of like flying off into the. I'll play it now, but that's it's not very. I don't know the plot of this film, but yeah, like I know Thor gets sent to Earth because he's been naughty. He's been a naughty little boy. That's not really weird. Sorry. And I don't know what Loki's doing. He's been a fucking weirdo. But yeah, so Marvel's always had like an issue with side characters, but I have a particular problem with the ones in this film. I think they're all equally as bad, except from the last one, which I'll talk about. So Jane Foster, she is very gullible. She meets this random guy in the desert, and he claims he's like a Norse god. And she says stuff like, "Oh God, I hope you're not crazy," all the way through the film. But I don't get it, because he sounds insane. No regular person would help him. But she's just like, "Oh my God, I've got to help him because he's so hot. I mean, so valuable to his people, and needs to get back to his people that I'm not actually fully aware if they exist or not. He might be lying, he might not be lying. It doesn't matter, he's hot." Do you really think Thor, the movie, would really, like, progress if Thor looked like this? So yeah, Jane Foster, fucking Padme, weird, I don't like her. The scientist guy, I don't remember his name. I know he's in the Avengers, and like he had like a shoe joke in Before the Dark World that I laughed so violently and passionately to that I literally only just stopped laughing about it. I'm being sarcastic. Oh yeah, but the worst side character I think has ever graced our screens is Kat Dennings as Darcy. Now I'm not gonna say she's unfunny, because that would not be doing it justice. Every line makes me want to claw my eyeballs out and then put them back in. I hate you! I've calmed down. Listen, it's just not funny, and the fact that they brought it back for WandaVision, like, why? I just thought, what if they brought back Louise from Ant-Man, because he's actually cool. Oh. But no, we get Kat Dennings, hilarious, funny time, yes. Right, okay. If you don't believe me that this movie's boring, Anthony Hopkins literally fell asleep halfway through canically fell asleep during the movie, and he didn't wake up until the end. That's how boring this film is, if you do not believe me. One thing that's never really made sense, Loki doesn't seem like a bad ruler. Like, he really doesn't. He seems like he'd be alright at the job, because he constantly is being told, "No, you can't have the throne. That could never happen." But what would be so bad if he did? Because Thor doesn't seem to want the throne. And at the end of Endgame, he's like, "You know what? I don't really want to be a king anymore." Why now? Why now decide that? Why not just let Loki be king? Because it just give us a scene where he's proven to be a bad ruler, proven to be like a dictator or something. Because I don't really believe he'd be that bad of a ruler. I feel a bit offended for him. Do people really want to stop him that much from being it? Because he doesn't seem that bad. I think he just wants to. Wait, no. Actually, yeah. Example. In Thor Ragnarok, right? He takes over Odin's place, and everything's fine and dandy. There's nothing wrong with it. Everyone in Asgard's chill. I don't get it. What's wrong with it? I went a little rant then, but yeah, I don't get that. That never made sense to me. Oh yeah, Hawkeye literally makes his debut in this movie, and he literally doesn't do it. He literally jumps onto a vantage point, aims, and that's it. So yeah, literally even nothing. So yeah, long story short, I hate Kat Dennings, I hate Dutch angles. Yeah, boom, next movie, let's go. See, when you have the camera like this, it just doesn't look good. It just looks really weird. That's why I don't like Dutch angles. So yeah. This gets a 4 out of 10. That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. This is really uncomfortable. Alright, okay. Next movie. I genuinely really like this film to a point, because right after Steve gets injected, he goes to fight. Right after Bucky gets rescued, it like changes so much. It's so like wacky is the best way to describe it. It goes to be this like really good like kind of somber story about this like this guy who's not really fit enough to help the Allies in the war. It's really sweet tale of him becoming like, you know, the symbol of like freedom in America. So like this weird like action film, it's I can't describe it. It's just weird. One thing this movie nails, in my opinion, is like getting us to like Steve Rogers. You can see about the first like 10 minutes he's this like weak guy, but he's got like a really strong will, and that's just obviously really like likable. Also, this is rare, but there's that Peggy and Steve are actually like a really good like romantic duo in this like this movie. It kind of gets ruined later because in Captain America 2 he goes to hang out with Peggy when she's like 90 and really old, and I think that really ruins the ending of this film. I'll get into that later, but it just seems really weird because in Captain America 3 Peggy dies, and then like I think a couple scenes later he tries to get with her niece. Like, what the fuck? But to give credit to the Marvel writers, that's the only time Captain America like goes a bit out of character. Like that's the only time. He's pretty consistent, but yeah, that's the only time his character kind of goes a bit like off the rails a bit. But yeah, I actually really do think Chris Evans is a really good casting choice. Back in the day, when this movie was announced, that was like really controversial. Like everybody was like mad about it because Chris Evans was like a comedy actor. He hadn't really done like serious movies like that. I mean, it would be the equivalent of like Jim Carrey playing Wolverine today. No disrespect to Jim Carrey, but I don't think he really suits the role of Wolverine. And everybody thought that about Chris Evans, but he really did prove everybody wrong. And now, like, I don't think anybody can imagine anybody else in the role, which is pretty impressive, I won't lie. And I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. The MCU will just sometimes waste like a really, really talented good actor and like have them play like a really obscure, random side character. For example, Tommy Lee Jones is in this movie. I honestly forgot he was. He really could have been used better. I can't think of a character off the top of my head that he could probably portray better. But like another example of this was, you know, Evan Peters in WandaVision. That was just lame as fuck in that show. He came back like just for a boner joke. But to be honest, I don't think he's gonna stay just a boner joke for a while. I think in Multiverse of Madness they're probably gonna bring him back. Please do. Evan Peters is the only good Quicksilver. Please. But imagine being Aaron Taylor Johnson. Is that his name? I don't know. The guy who played Quicksilver in Age of Ultron. Imagine like finally getting a contract. You're playing a big superhero for the second time because he played Kick-Ass, and you get your superpower is speed, right? And you somehow get shot, and then years later they recast you for an actor that always had better material. I don't know. I feel bad for him. I wish he gets a really good script in the new Kraven the Hunter movie that he's gonna be playing in, if that ever comes out. I mean, Venom was announced in like 2011. I'm pretty sure the film, and it came out 2017. I want to say 17. Is it 17 or 18? 2018. So yeah, that's like what, 7 years. Yeah, I mean, it's not as bad as The Flash. Like that movie was announced back in 2011. I'm pretty sure. Don't fact check that. That's probably not right. I've decided to make an anagram for when the MCU wastes actors. I've decided to call it WAP, Wasted Actor Potential. There we go. You see that? Yeah, you can. So yeah, WAP. Anyways, I'm getting off topic, but anyways, I like the set pieces, I like the actor choices, but most of them. Overall, this is a really good film, up until it kind of loses what it wants to be for a bit, and it gets totally like kind of confused, like with the end act, where it's kind of like Captain America fighting Red Skull, and it's really goofy looking. And yeah, I know it's a comic book movie, but like, to go from this really kind of grounded, kind of believable story, this guy getting injected with a super serum and like gonna go fight in World War II with his best friend with like a metal frisbee. And that doesn't sound so grounded, but I don't know. It takes kind of like a nosedive, like of what it wants to be. I don't know. You'd have to see for yourself. It's hard to describe, but yeah. I will say though, this has probably the best ending out of all the MCU movies so far. Steve waking up in modern times and one line saying, "I had a date." I love that. Unfortunately, it does get ruined because in like I said earlier, Captain America 2, he meets up with old Peggy Carter and it just ruins that scene completely. But yeah. Not to mention it makes Steve Rogers look incredibly creepy trying to hit on this like deteriorating old woman. And then after her funeral going to hit on her niece. But this is a pretty solid MCU movie. This is probably the second best movie in the Phase 1 movie list. We're going to get to the best one next. So, yeah, I'd give this about a 7 out of 10. That's fair. Yeah, 7 out of 10 is fair. We're finally here, guys. It's been a trip. How many movies have we done, actually? Let me check. We've done... How many? So there's Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America. 6 movies. 6 whole movies. That's crazy. You know, we've really stepped it up from the Tom Maguire days where we did like 3 movies in one video. That took like what? That was like 30 minutes long, wasn't it? And this one's... Damn, so... I'll do the honours because nobody else is here to do the honours for me. It's been a journey. Let's review this bad boy. Boy, oh boy, this is a meaty movie, and this is how you do a crossover movie, in my opinion. I think every character here is given really good representation, except from Hawkeye. I don't think Hawkeye really got, like, a good end of the stick here, because he really did just get, like, mind control for half the film, and then stood up on, like a building for the other half, and he was kind of lame, I won't lie. But in the next Avengers movie, he does get kind of like utilised more, which is, I mean, always good to see. But I really do have a special relationship with this movie. This is like one of this is the first movie I saw in cinema, and this is how you make a team up movie. This is the base in Hollywood how to make like a superhero team up movie. Shit's really good because like. Obviously, loads of like companies have tried like remaking like a Marvel, like a cinematic universe, like that horror universe. Tom Cruise was in. It called the Mummy, was it? Yeah, the DCU, Hellboy, and they all fail because they don't set out like a roadmap and they don't establish well-liked characters. With the DCU, they go to Superman movie, then they go to Batman vs Superman without even establishing Batman. You just pick up at where Batman is in this universe. That would be the equivalent of the MCU just doing Iron Man, then doing Captain America Civil War. That doesn't make sense without establishing Captain America. I'm getting off topic though, because this was built up, and this took about 5 years to make. And I'm not being funny, if DC did the exact same thing, they would be rolling in cash right now, because they would be at like... Justice League 2, and they would have established all the characters. Yeah, so this is how you make a superhero team up movie. Sorry for ranting, I just hate the DC universe so much. Oh my mic. The dialogue's kind of like really corny and cheesy, and I love it. It's just witty and it's kind of charming. Every character fits the lineup for this movie, apart from Hawkeye. But obviously, like I said before, he gets better in the next movie. But I said this before in the Hulk segment, and I'll say it again. Mark Ruffalo needs to be praised more because his like role as Bruce Banner is literal perfection. It is better than Robert Downey Jr.'s, and honestly, if you disagree, then leave. Leave the video. No! But anyways, sorry. I'll go back into that. I love it. It's like he's so scared of just bumping into something and exploding, and you can see with all of his mannerisms, like, it's just incredible. Like, it's just better than Edward Norton's performance in every way. Steve Rogers not knowing anything like tech-wise and kind of being thrown into this new world, and like the movie's showing us like him like reacting and trying to adapt to everything. That's great. That's good character. That's good character work. Sorry, I'm ranting. For me, this is where these movies get really good, and it's really finally figured out the like formula for the MCU, and it's just so gosh darn good. And Loki, surprisingly enough, gets like characterization. This is where Loki becomes like a kind of really well written character. So yeah, this is just overall a really, really good film. There's nothing really to nitpick out, to be honest. So yeah, 9 out of 10, really good. And we're done. That's it. That's Phase 1 of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That was a roller coaster of emotions. So I hope you've learned something. Okay. Part 2. I don't know when that's coming out. It will come out eventually. Maybe a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, maybe a year. Probably not a year. But yeah, thank you. Take care. See you in the next video.